This is Reds Down Under podcast, and this is the weekly show. I'm Tom. I'm a Scouser living in Australia. I've been here 6 years, and this, as I say, is the weekly show where we talk about all things Liverpool. My guest this week is Wayne from Adelaide. He's Liverpool obsessed, and we'll be talking about Liverpool Aussie legends. Such as Craig Johnson, Harry Kewell, Brad Jones, definitely make the list in there. Thanks to Redboat Ventures for being our production partner. They're absolute legends. Have a look in the bio to see what they do. They're great. Thanks so much for all your support. We are on Instagram and Facebook. Jump on there and be part of the conversation. Enjoy.
This is the Reds Down Under podcast, the best place to follow the Reds in Australia. Enjoy the show.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
This is Reds Down Under. This is the weekly show. Hello to everyone. Hello to Wayne in Adelaide. Wayne, how are you, mate?
I'm brilliant, mate. How are you?
Mate, I'm absolutely just desperate for the football to return.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I am like itching for the football. So I live in Sydney. I went to watch the rugby league the other week. I went to Parramatta to watch the Tigers, who's my team,
Yes.
and the Panthers, who's my missus' team. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen the game, but we got robbed.
Yeah.
The Tigers got robbed. It was disgusting officiating. And I was just like, it's good, but it's just not football.
I know the feeling,
Yeah.
mate. I've like tried to watch, some football, internationals, and I'm just like, this is boring. So I've literally just gone back and started watching us lift the trophy again.
Yeah,
That's all I'm doing.
yeah.
And and even other sports, like, I don't get me wrong, I do enjoy other sports, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So, apart from obviously all the transfer buzz, it's like, I'm desperately missing watching Liverpool play. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
mate.
and on the transfer buzz, I mean, since we last spoke, spoke on the podcast,
Yeah.
it looked like Frimpong was gonna happen, and
That's
obviously
right.
it has happened.
Yes.
Which we were all just sort of waiting for, weren't we?
Mm.
It looks like Wirtz is done. We think.
I would say, yeah, I think it is. What was it? Apparently he's medical this Friday, apparently, after he comes back from holidays. That's, that's
Yeah,
the rumor. I think
yeah,
it's
and
done. It's done.
hopefully he's doing nothing on holiday. Like, he is literally just wrapped up in cotton wool.
That's it.
Um, but I mean, we've spoken about it
Yeah,
because every time we get a new guest on, it looks like we're waiting for Wirtz to sign. But he
that's
is
right.
gonna be huge, isn't he, mate?
Oh, look, I think it's been made pretty clear what, Slot wants from him as far as in that number 10 role and building that forward line around him, so to speak. Um, Extremely exciting player. And eye-watering price tag, let's be honest, but he's a generational talent. His stats for the last 2 seasons are just off the charts. I think it's amazing. And look, just to keep it really short, because I know we've obviously said a lot about him already, but the fact that Manchester City had to go and get Cherki, who, don't get me wrong, is no slouch, is a great player, but obviously a bit of a step down from, Wirtz. So,
Yeah,
and there were some Arsenal fans saying we had no pulling power. So, we're about to probably get Kirkes as well,
yeah,
because obviously his dad doesn't shut up in the press
great.
about joining us. So, no, man, it's exciting. I think, and I don't think we're done. I think there's even more to come. I just saw another little quick link with Fafana at Leon, left winger. So potentially, if Diaz does go, this could be the guy to replace him. Obviously, all rumors, but
Yeah,
man, it's exciting. Like we're getting linked to not just players who we think are okay. We're getting linked to players who are really can literally come straight into the first team and start
yeah.
and make a real impact. So Yep, all eye on Wirtz, mate. He's gonna be under a lot of scrutiny, but I think this guy is exceptional, and I think we've bought, you know, another kind of, I said the other last time I was on about Virgil being and even Allison being and Mo to an extent transformational for the club. I think Wirtz is going to be doing that for us too.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's a young player, obviously,
Hmm.
but everything I've ever seen of him, when I watched them against Liverpool, he looked like a real player.
Yes.
And that doesn't always mean that they're going to be great players.
No, no,
It
absolutely not.
hasn't quite happened for Darwin, has it?
No.
Who by the way looks like there's a little bit of a bidding war going on for him, which is
Yeah.
good for him, and hopefully he gets the right move for him.
Yep.
Um, you know, but Vert really does look like a player who really does belong with the best players in the world, to be honest, and he's only going to get better. And if I was Mo Salah right now, I'd be absolutely licking my lips because
Oh, tell me about it.
he is going to get some service, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And players like Jota again, Jota will be looking at it thinking, if I can get fit here, if I can get
Mm,
fit for the start of the season, and play with Vert, Jota could be on for a really good season next year.
yes.
We'll talk later about we're going to talk about Aussie legends who've played for Liverpool,
Hmm.
um, and one of the players who we will talk about in that sort of group is a left-footed left back. Um, our left-footed left back, or at least one of them, Andy Robertson, with that Kirkers move, it looks
Yeah.
like he's coming in. Looks like Robbo could be on his way out to
Mm,
Atletico Madrid. Are
mm.
you? Would you be looking to keep him on rather than Shimikas, or would you be looking to keep Shimikas as a sort of a player to rotate with Kirkes?
Yeah, I remember answering this question a few episodes ago, and I said my preference was to keep Robbo just because I felt he was probably he's obviously his powers have waned, but I think he's still a better player overall from Tsimikas. That said, um, I think the timing might be right for Robbo, and maybe even for us just for balancing the books. I mean, moving to Atletico, it's like, Trippier, all over again, I guess, kind of revitalizing his career. And, talk about, teaming up with like-minded, kind of annoying type of agitating kind of person in Simeone. So that'll be a match made in heaven. I'd hate to see him go though, in saying that as well. I understand the logic behind it. The heart would love him to stay because he's actually been, not not a cult favorite, but he has been a big favorite of mine. I personally probably loved him more than Trent, and that's no disrespect to what Trent has done for us. It's just that Robbo was just always, for me, my type of player that, butt gusting, running, high intensity, getting in the faces of other players and, opposition, and just really giving his all. And he's just I think he's just a brilliant character all around. But if the price is right, yeah, I think it's probably on. And sad, sad because it's another one of the, I guess, the that original group that's going to be going. But I think it's going to happen. I think it is. I think, he said he wanted to stay, but I think maybe now he's realizing, well, Spain, that's an interesting destination. New league, probably not as physically demanding or as fast as the Premier League, but still high quality. Um, I think he'd fit right in under Simeone's kind of tactics, and I think he's a great leader. Obviously, he's a captain of the Scottish national team, but yeah, I'll be sad. I'll be sad if it does happen.
Yeah, I think like me business head says command a good fee. Kirkes is obviously going to be the main left back, and Shimikas is younger. He still offers a good option
Mm.
and let Robbo go. But yeah, I think we identify with Robbo.
Yeah.
He's sort of one of us,
Hmm.
and he's got that sort of Henderson Milner thing about him.
Yes.
So I think you want people like that in your squad, even as a
Hmm.
fan.
Yeah.
Um, so look, we'll see what happens. But if he does leave and he goes to Atletico, brilliant for him.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really good. Again, I've seen this week. I mean, we can always talk about all the different rumours which go on. I've seen the Isaac thing sort of pop its head a little bit
Yes.
again, and that had disappeared for a little period, and that sort of popped its head again. Um, can I talk to you about something that's not Liverpool related, Wayne?
Go for it.
Have you seen the Club World Cup yet? Have you seen any of it?
Apart from one or two little highlights, I mean, like literally 30 seconds, that's it. I have not because, um, yeah, I told you how I feel about other football at the moment. I've got zero interest. I think
Yeah,
it's a sham of a tournament personally, but anyway, that's my personal opinion.
yeah, and I think that the crowds feel that way because I seen a game there in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I think is in Atlanta
Yeah. Was that the Chelsea game?
yesterday. Yeah, and the attendance was shambolic,
Yes, I saw that.
absolutely shambolic.
Mm,
And I don't think that's a representation of Chelsea, because I think Chelsea have got a good following in America actually.
yeah.
But I think it is like a real representation of how people are feeling about this tournament, and I think people vote with the money, don't they?
Yes,
People vote with
absolutely.
their dollars, and
Mm,
yeah, don't get me wrong. I think this tournament is here to stay, and I think it's something we're going to have to get involved with, and hopefully Liverpool will be playing in it in a few years. But I
yes,
think I think they're going to have a serious look at it because Bayern Munich beat Auckland 10-0 the other day.
exactly. Yes, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
You can't have that.
No, no.
You can't. They're going to have to look at how the tournament is seeded or something because you know you can't have a team getting beat 10-0 at a
No.
club World Cup. Like if Zambia got beat 10-0 at a World Cup, you'd be like,
What have they been doing there? Yeah,
yeah, how do they qualify? You know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly.
Um. So anyway, like I haven't watched the game, but I have like been reading about it. Um.
Yeah.
Now before we move on, Wayne, because I'd love to tell people a little bit more about you because we talked about you a little bit when you first came on Reds Down Under, but
Hmm.
that feels like 10 years ago,
It
even though it
was.
was only like
It's,
a couple of months ago.
it was a while ago. So yeah, all right. You want me to give me the? I'll give you the spiel. Okay. So a little bit about myself. Uh, well, I live in Adelaide. I was born here. Obviously a big Liverpool fan. Have been so since 1986. When I saw Craig Johnston, we'll be talking about it a little bit later, score a wonderful goal in an FA Cup final. I was kind of hooked after that. And I guess back in the late 90s when I was kind of changing, I guess, or upskilling my career, getting into web design, I thought, I'll just make a Liverpool website to hone some skills. And now it's the longest running Australian-based Liverpool website, still running since 1998. It's called the L Files, or you might know it as liverpoolaustralia.com.au. It's just basically a really nice, simple site to get all your latest news from all the best sources and trusted sources as well. So not like your rubbish newspapers, but ones that most fans would, abide by. But yeah, you can, obviously buy stuff from the club on there as well. A little bit about myself also and other stuff. What's some other things I could quickly tell you? I guess.
Well, tell us about what you're doing on Friday.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I think that's interesting, and
All right.
I think a lot of people will like
Yep,
appreciate it. Actually, like I think it's
I will.
something that's really important.
I will. So, apart from being a husband and father, and obviously a designer during the day for work, I also, for the last 6 years, have been volunteering and also on the board for a men's mental health organisation called the Male Hug. They're based out of Victoria, in Melbourne, but they're actually for everyone here in Australia. But we focus on men's mental health, especially professional males. So your white collar working males out there. We're a first stage preventative, I guess, support network. So we focus on the power of talking amongst us guys. And as we all know, as blokes, we love to bottle things up or maybe say, she'll be right. Um, but we know sometimes it's actually good to be vulnerable and talk to a mate or talk to your partner, talk to a friend, because we believe a problem shared is a problem halved. And this Friday, we're having, well, I guess what you call our gala event. It's our end of financial year event, and it's at the Mighty MCG in Melbourne. We're in the dining room there with about probably 360 guests joining us. It's a wonderful day, corporate lunch. We've got lots of special guests coming to talk about, I guess, very candidly about men's mental health and their own experiences. We have some names that you might know. You might possibly know. I guess if you're into AFL, you might have probably heard of former AFL umpire Ray Chamberlain. He's going to come and talk. If you're into cricket, you probably would have heard of maybe Darren Berry. He used to coach the Adelaide Strikers and SA state team, if I'm right, in the Sheffield Shield. But we also have Billy Brownless, who's a Geelong legend as well, comedian Dave Hughes, and our ambassadors.
Hey, Husey.
Yeah, Hughes is going to be there. So
Yeah.
we have our ambassadors, which is Matthew Richardson, Richo, as you might know him from Richmond, Kevin Sheedy, who most AFL people will know about, and also for you NRL fans, former Parramatta Eels legend Tim Manor. He's an ambassador for us, good bloke. Um, but yeah, it's going to be an amazing day. Look, as I said, it's a big fundraising event. We are sold out, but yeah, we're raising funds for our free 24-hour or 24/7, should I say, hotline, which is called our 1-800 My Buddy hotline. So it's basically anyone who needs to chat about something what's on their mind, you can call and speak to one of our, volunteer buddies, maybe even myself because I actually volunteer for it, and we're just there to listen. There's no judgment. It's safe. It's friendly. It's strictly confidential. But we have found that, yeah, we've had a lot of guys or even sometimes women as well call us, just basically say what's going on in their lives. And we're just there to listen. And maybe if they want to hear some advice, or maybe if they just want someone to basically, lean on, we're there. And we act like a friend, essentially. That's why we're called buddies. But yeah, look, we are fundraising. So we are volunteer run. We're not government funded. So um, we're not loaded or nothing like that. So we obviously raise money to keep these kinds of services that we do going. If you want to donate, you can just go to themailhub.com.au and click on the donate button. Every little bit helps. It's tax deductible as well. Good for end of financial year coming up, friends. And yeah, look, it's a great cause, and it's amazing when we're changing the lives of men. Um, just by a simple act of talking, and encouraging people to talk. So, thanks, Tom, for allowing me to share that. It's something very dear to my heart, but I know even you, men's mental health is a big thing, and we all know someone who is done it tough, or sadly even maybe taken things to the extreme. So, yeah, very important to talk, guys.
No, I think it's so important, mate. I think it's so important. I think like the the old idea of what it is to be a man and be a bloke and stoicism and
Hmm.
just gulping it down and just cracking on um, might have been really beneficial once upon a time when we had to put on a tin hat and carry a rifle
Yeah,
um, into a trench. But yeah, I think a lot of people struggle, mate. It's really difficult for people. And no, look, I think it's brilliant. I think what you're doing is brilliant.
thanks, mate.
If people are looking to support that, there it is. but at the very least, at least now you know about it. And I'll tell you what, if you're having a shit day, at least now there's another place you know where you can go
Yes,
and give someone a call. Wayne, can I show you something?
go for it. I'm
So
curious.
we're running a promo on Red Down Under.
Oh,
Wayne, you
yeah.
know all about it. You know all about it. Here it is.
Oh,
People on
oh,
YouTube can see it. How
come
sexy is this, Wayne?
man, that's amazing. That looks incredible. Oh,
Um, so this is a 2008 2009 home shirt, which is actually one of my favourite shirts that we've had in a long time, actually. Sort
iconic.
of classic, isn't it? It's sort of a
Yeah.
classic one. But this one comes in a presentation gift
Oh,
box, and it's signed by Gerard Carragher Mascherano, and Torres El
oh,
Nino. Yeah,
how amazing is that? How
I
amazing
know.
is that? Oh, and you know what?
Jack.
All that. You go on, go for it. Sorry.
No, go on. What are you saying? Go
I
on.
was just going to say, and you know what? If you're watching this, all you need to do, it's really easy to enter. Just get on this. I mean, God, imagine having that in your collection. Like seriously, I'd be too scared to
Yeah,
even open it. I'd just hide it and put it away because it's just so beautiful, man. That's
yeah. It's sexy, isn't it?
oh,
So you can enter, you can win it. If you go on our Instagram, go on the pin post at the top, you'll see it. It's like a graphic with a shirt giveaway. Give us a follow, tag 3 people in the post, preferably
yeah.
3 Reds if you can, and share it to your story. If you can't, some people have struggled with sharing it to your story, people who don't use Instagram all that often. But if you tag 3 Reds, it'll be all right. And yeah, we're going to give that away on the 23rd of June.
Oh, that's next
Um,
week. Woo,
that's next week.
oof.
Oh my God. I don't want to get rid of it. Um, all right, Wayne. Now, a bit of a while ago, we asked people to send in their favourite memories of Aussie Reds legends, and we didn't tell people who to send in thoughts about or whatever. We just said send them in, and the ones that cropped up the most were Craig Johnson, Harry Kewell, and Brad Jones. Although there was a couple of other names in there that we can talk about as well.
Yeah,
Um, let's talk about Craig Johnson first.
yeah.
So Jono, obviously a player before. So I was born in 1990, so I started watching. I can remember sort of starting to watch Liverpool at like 95, 96. Right in that sweet spot of when we were really shit.
Mm.
Um, but obviously Craig Johnson was before that, mate, and sort of in your era. So tell us a little bit about Craig Johnson, because he was, as you say, like he was the sort of the reason you got into the Reds in the first
Yeah,
place.
absolutely. Look, and I'm probably speaking on behalf of a lot of probably Reds my age as well, or maybe even a little bit younger or even a little bit older. That Craig is probably the reason here in Australia why a lot of people follow Liverpool. That's just a given fact. Much like, younger kids these days, because they've got access to internet and everything, it's, Gerard or Torres or whatever. Back then, back in the 80s, we didn't, obviously there's no internet, but we didn't have regular live football matches here. So apart from the radio, which I didn't listen to, really honestly the only football that I could watch because the match of the day highlights were on too late and I'd have to go to bed because I was still at school was every year the FA Cup was a annual tradition in our household. So it's either my father and me would watch it, or my mum would stay up and we'd watch it, or we'd go over some good friends' places and watch it. And I distinctly remember one year watching, the obviously that the '86 final, and that goal sticks in my head that Craig scored. The little flick with the legs, and then his celebration where he jumps up and he flicks his leg, and yeah, there I just kind of said, I like this team. I'm going to follow them. An Australian. I didn't know much else about Liverpool at the time. I knew a few names of the other teams, but obviously I didn't get to watch too much football after that. It was just more probably reading the newspaper for results. Obviously, then in '89, a lot of that came to the fore with Hillsborough, but um, obviously Craig's name was mentioned in the paper in relation to that because, he went over there and he was retired then actually, but he went over there and kind of helped out. But yeah, look, I think probably more now in the latter years, just with the access that we have to, I guess, internet and old videos, you get to watch them even more and watch a lot more. I mean, to be honest, in the last few years, I've probably seen more of Craig play than I ever did back in that time.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to actually meet him, and we actually, I guess I can call him a friend now too. So we've had a few chats, and he's a lovely, lovely guy, incredible brain. Um, and I think just to class him as a good footballer is probably wrong. I think the
Yeah.
guy is just he's and I hate to use the word entrepreneur because that's not really him. He's just I don't know, almost like a polymath. He's just good at what he does. He's a genius who just happened to basically apply himself and play good football. And he'll be the first to admit he wasn't even necessarily the best player. I think I shared that link with you earlier today, Tom. And I'm going to try and get this right, and I apologize, but Michael Caine interviews with Caney. Look it up. He did a really good 2 hour interview with Craig just literally about a week ago, and Craig talks
Mm.
about a lot of different things. Said some
Yeah.
amazing stuff about Liverpool as a city and what sets Liverpool, the club, aside from any other club in the world. He spoke about how it's not just the team. He says it's the people and it's the city. And he said it's the belief in that culture and in the people. And regardless of how Liverpool are doing on the field, they're still the best club in the world. They're still the best team in the world. It's amazing. And he pretty much was a trailblazer. And I think for whatever reasons, he doesn't get enough credit here in Australia
Mm.
for what he did, the pathways that he, I guess, the trailblazing pathways that he kind of set for a lot of, I guess, players that were to come. He did it the hard way. His story's well known. How the Jack Charlton story, how he was called the worst footballer when he went over as a kid from Middlesbrough, but he applied himself. Um, and yeah, look, I think he's proof of that just hard work, determination, but he's also got a very smart brain, and he saw the science in football that basically if he applied himself a certain way, he would improve his skills. So yeah, look, he's the most decorated Australian footballer to walk the earth. He's won it all.
Yeah.
He's won European Cups, he's won league titles, he's won FA Cups, he's won League Cups. So he's miles ahead of the others as far as trophies. But yeah, look, you know, and I think in all honesty, it's what he's done outside of football is probably even more interesting. The Predator boot, the TV shows that he invented, all these other little bits and pieces. Yeah, incredible guy, very generous with his time. And I'll give it
Mm.
a small plug. I believe it's now, I'm trying to get the details right here, but I know he's doing a show in Newcastle coming up.
Yes. Yes. I don't
Um,
have I don't have the date for that. Do you have the
which
date?
No, I don't. I don't have it in front of me. If Max was on, he'd know it in a heartbeat. I know that. But he's doing a show where it's basically him telling his own story and more. And if you are in that area, go because I think you'll get insights that you wouldn't even dream of. So he says he's going to share a few things that he hasn't really, I guess, spoken about before as well. So by all means, yeah, go and have a listen.
Yeah, we are gonna go to that. So we're talking
Ah,
to Max at the moment. So we're definitely going to be going up to the event. Probably Jack and I, my brother
excellent.
Jack. We'll go up, and yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to Craig as well and get him on the pod. We met him. By the way, we'll get this information because I'm talking to Max at the moment, so I'm just
Good.
waiting for clarity on when that date will be and the venue and stuff, and we'll let you know on the podcast. Yeah, we met Craig. I have told the story before, but for new listeners, so we went to the John Barnes, an evening with John Barnes last year,
That's right. Yes.
um, in
Oh, was it
Sydney.
no, I know which one you're talking about. Yes. Yep. Yep.
It was brilliant, Wayne. It was really brilliant. Um, and I went with my dad and with Jack, and it was really great. Just listening at that era, that sort of late 80s era at Liverpool, just
He's
sounded
amazing,
like the
isn't he?
best time. Yeah,
Digger.
and yeah, oh, Digger. unbelievable. Like, and my dad talks about John Barnes.
He's my favourite player, actually. He's my favourite all-time Liverpool player.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad loves John Barnes, like he really does. But Craig Johnson was there, and we were having a little bevy with him, and he was just so generous with his time. He was just brilliant, and I can't wait for that evening with Craig Johnson, because he was really, I mean, I might be talking out of turn, but from what I understand of it, he was one of the first footballers really to see the possibility of leveraging their football career
Correct.
into other areas and
Yes.
becoming successful in those areas. And
Mm.
like the Predator boot. I think he designed another football boot as well later.
Yeah, it
But
was called the Pig, if I remember right. That's the one he was called. It was another one
the
called the
pig.
Pig. Yeah.
Um, and but the Predator boot, like, is in itself an institution now.
Exactly. Yes.
It's like it's as big as Adidas in many ways. You know what I mean? Everyone loves the Predator boot.
Yeah.
And I'm like interested to hear about, because I'm sure he'll talk about sort of his personal life and his sister as well, who was really poorly, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great guy. I'm really looking forward to sort of talking to him. And I mean, like, just looking at the stats here, 271 appearances between 81 and 88, scoring 40 goals, which, when you think about it, isn't a lot of goals
No.
statistically, but
No.
people are obsessed with statistics, aren't they? It doesn't show everything, does it?
No.
Five First Division titles, 1 FA Cup, 2 League Cups, and the European Cup in 84.
That's right.
And part of that, losing squad in Heysel in 85, which
That's
was
right.
just an absolute atrocity, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, terrible.
So Craig Johnson, what an absolute legend. And you know what? I watched like a highlight of some fella as lovingly pieced together his highlights on YouTube. And it's just some of his goals, and he just looked like a really direct player.
Yeah, he was extremely you know, he was like an energizer bunny. He was probably one of the fittest players as far as like energy, like so a lot like Robbo, just high intensity, chases anything and everything. Technically not the greatest, but I had mates that were able to watch him during that time, and they said, yeah, he would just run all day, and really, he's a good player, like very dependable. But I was going to say, if you haven't, and anyone listening, read his book. Um, it's an insight because it wasn't a bed of roses for him at Liverpool all the time. He was in and out of
Yeah,
team quite a lot. His first season there I think it was under Joe Fagan, they just didn't get along. He had a falling out. And yeah, lots of, ins and outs, but I guess it's a really good insight into what it's like sometimes to be a footballer that's not necessarily always a given on the first team sheet. I've read some of the other players bios like Carragher and Gerrard, and they're always starters. But to hear that kind of other side of it, yeah, it's good. It's a very good read.
yeah. I'll have to have a look at that, because one of our followers sent us a message as well. Kanaza Baza, which is either the best name ever or just an Instagram handle that I don't quite understand. But Kanaza, if you are listening, mate, hello. Welcome to Reds Down Under. Kanaza Baza said that he met Jono in South Africa in 2010 for the World Cup. Lovely guy. Stood and chatted with everyone, signed loads of stuff for them as well. They said that they love reading their book actually as well. He said it's a really good read. And Kanaza says as well, like, they're pretty sure that a large contingent of Aussie Reds support Liverpool because of
Oh yeah.
Craig
Yes.
Johnson.
Yep.
Which I think Wayne agrees with for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Jono.
Okay.
Let's talk about a player who was always a favourite of mine at Liverpool. Was a player who spent a lot of time injured, a lot of time getting criticised, but he just had this. He had it. He had this little bit of magic, and this is Harry Kewell. Signed for Liverpool for around £5 million from Leeds, and I remember seeing him for Leeds. So I would have been, what year was that? 2003.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
2003, and so I would have been like 13 at the time, and I remember him scoring a cracker against Arsenal at Highbury for Leeds, and I was like, oh, this guy's good. And then when we signed him, Wayne, I was absolutely buzzing for Harry Kewell.
So were we.
So was Harry.
Yeah.
So was Harry, I think. I mean, so you would have been very aware of Harry Kewell at this point, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh
Like, it
yeah.
must have been,
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
must have been a huge thing for you and other Aussie Reds when
Oh,
when he when he made that move.
yeah, massive. I mean, look, to be honest, the first time I sort of saw Harry Kewell was when he scored. He scored in a World Cup qualifying game for Australia, and I thought, oh, who's this kid? Who's this young guy that just scored? And then obviously he became quite big at Leeds, and it was a big deal here. He was getting a lot of press. Him and Viduka obviously as well, getting heaps of press here. And so when he signed for us, we were over the moon. We thought this is it. This is brilliant. He's just gonna nail it. We thought we should have got him earlier. Um, and look, he started off brilliantly for us. Unfortunately, as I said, the injuries caught up. But if you put aside all that injuries, I think technically, it's like you said, he had that magic. Technically, maybe aside from Viduka, probably our best player of that so-called golden, well, the golden generation of Australian football. I mean, we had some really good players too, very technically astute players. But yeah, Harry just had that magic about him that could, just a match winner, like Viduka as well. But yeah, look, he scored some ripper goals. The one you mentioned against Leeds is probably one that always gets replayed everywhere, but I think he actually scored better ones for us.
Yeah,
He scored an absolute, well, he scored that brilliant one on the volley against Everton. I
yeah,
remember, or not on the volley, so the one outside the box, but the volley then he scored against the Spurs as well for that really tight
yeah,
angle was just crazy. Um,
yeah.
Fantastic player. Just as I said, shame that it just injuries just absolutely ruined him. Was it two European Cup finals in a row? 2005 and 2007 that he was both. I think he
No,
both had to come off injured.
well, he came off in Istanbul, didn't he?
That's
Early
right.
on,
But I'm pretty sure he
like,
was injured also, yeah, in 2007 in Athens as well. Or maybe I'm getting it wrong.
no. So you
Oh,
might be right. You might be right because you normally are, but he. So he
so
came off. Let's talk about it because he came off in Istanbul. I think we were 2-0 down, I think, at the time.
that's right.
And he came off, I think, with a hamstring injury. Because
Yes.
he was very unlucky with injuries, was Harry.
Actually, do you know
And
what? You know what? Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to say
yeah,
I am actually right, and I'll tell you why I remember. Because we had about 500 of us at the Celtic Club, which is no longer there in Melbourne, with the Melbourne Supporters Group. And we had this guy who we'd met online from some forum. He was from Liverpool, and he hated Harry Kewell. He just could not. He hated his guts, right? And so he was sitting next to me, and when Harry got injured, he was right off. He says, "I told you." He says, he was going. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he was going right off at him. And I'm sitting there going, not going to say much. That's how
but
I remember.
all right. Well, I'll get to it, right?
All right, all right.
Because um, he, so he came off injured in Istanbul, and I think Rafa brought on Smeeta
That's right.
as his replacement, and Schmeitzer then went on the left, and I think then Louis Garcia came in the 10.
Correct.
And Schmeitzer ends up scoring a screamer. Yeti Dudek as the best night of his life.
Yes.
AC Milan fans crying in the street. Things I love to see. And Yeti Dudek saves Shevchenko's penalty. Now, at this moment, the Liverpool players are stood on the halfway line, and when Dudek saves it, everyone runs towards the corner flag. Included in that was Harry Kewell. Now, Harry Kewell got a lot of stick for that, right?
I know he did. He did. Even here, he got it. I mean, that because they were saying, look at him, he's jumping up and down on the podium. How can he do that if he's, whatever?
Yeah.
I think torn abductor, I think it was that he had, if I remember right, or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
it was a bad one, wasn't it? It was a bad one. And I remember, like, not like at the time, but in around that time, I was a bit like, oh, that's terrible, lad, and he bottled that and stuff. But like in reality, I could have my foot blown off, and I'd still sprint towards that corner flag.
Exactly right.
Like,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
You've just won the European Cup.
I know.
And you've had a really shit time personally getting there, but when you've been fit, the gaffer's picked you,
Yeah.
but that's been sort of in and out and a bit spotted in the season, and yet he goes mad, and I don't blame him. Don't blame
not at
him.
all. Not at all. I've said to people, look, he didn't pick himself. He didn't choose to get injured. The coach obviously picked him. Rafa picked him. He trusted him, and he said,
Yeah.
"Just give it all." And as I said, I mean, think about it. Some people honestly thought like, "Oh, he did it on purpose. He's selfish." I'm going like, why would you? Why
Yeah,
would you
that's
do that in a European Cup final? That's absolute garbage. And you know what? If he wanted to celebrate, who cares? It's kind of like what it reminds me of when Darwin was injured. Was it last season? And I can't remember who scored a winning goal. And when we won the League Cup with the kids, when
the
Van
League
Dijk said
Cup,
it, and he comes
Yeah.
down on his crutches or whatever it was, and he's jumping over people and jumps over the barricade, and it's like I'm saying, your adrenaline kicks in, euphoria kicks in, so people just need to chill out. Honestly,
absolutely. And then the next year we play in the FA Cup final, and he gets injured at half time.
That's when he got injured, I think.
That's what you're thinking about, I think.
I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You are right.
He got injured coming out the tunnel at half time, if I remember, and I think that was a hamstring injury. I think that one.
Yeah.
And I think he played in Athens as a number 10. I think.
Do you know? I still remember that guy complaining about him when he got injured. So I don't know. My memory's not what it used to be. I'll need to check, but I wouldn't be surprised if old Wayno's right.
Mate, the Godfather, as I call you, the Godfather's normally right. But you know what? Like, I would like to end on Harry Kewell in like a really positive way, because he, as I say, he had that like little bit of magic just about him, Harry. Like, he could change a game, he could beat a man. I was there in the stadium that day. He scored that cracker against Everton in the, I think it was the 2008.
That's when we were down to 10 men as well. We were down to 10 men.
Merseyside derby.
Yeah.
Gerrard got sent off, and I remember it because Gerrard got them 2 yellow cards.
That's right.
The players who were wearing 8 had 0-8 on, because Liverpool were the European capital of culture in 2008, so they wore 0-8. And yeah, Stevie got them 2 yellow cards, and Harry put that absolute cracker in. I think we won the game 3-1.
3-1. That's right. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the certain players that when you sign them, I couldn't believe we'd signed Harry Kewell. He was a player who would normally end up going to a United or a Chelsea, but we got him. So yeah, hey, look, Harry, I love you. I
Yeah,
love you, mate.
likewise.
So yeah,
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
you crack on, mate. You absolutely crack on. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I mean, we got a message from Corey. Hiya, Corey, mate. Corey listens every week. He said, Harry Kewell's basically the reason I started following Liverpool after his move from Leeds, and he was hooked. He said, also after years of being a Liverpool fan, my old man casually dropped in conversation that he went to school with Craig Johnson. Small world. Love that. Absolutely
Oh, I
love
love
it. So that's two people I know in Australia, and apparently two of them know Craig Johnson. Matty said, I reckon if Kewell stayed injury free, he could have been a potential legend for the club. He was the best winger in the world at the time, just in my opinion. Wish he could have been more. And you know what, mate? I think he was one of those players
Yeah.
who, yeah, like,
I agree. I completely agree. I think he was let down not just by his body also, but I think by poor management as far as doctors and not just at the club, but I think maybe even went on international duty. So yeah, it's a shame. I completely agree. I think he could have been absolutely out of this world with us if he had
yeah,
stayed fit, which is a real shame. Real shame.
yeah. And I think as well, you know, with the development nowadays of the way left-footed players now play on the right,
Mm.
Harry Kewell, I think, would have fit really well into that sort
Ah,
of the way
yes.
they've swapped. I think Harry would have got more goal contributions. Funny enough, actually, Stephen Williams said, also, Harry Kewell got injured in the 2005 final in Istanbul when we were losing, then ran the length of the pitch when we won it. So Stephen's still pissed off about that, which is fair enough. Which is fair enough if you're unhappy about that. But I tell you what as well, Wayne, Stephen did say that he thought Brad Smith looked like a promising player, but it never seemed to
Mm.
work out for him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't he, mate? He was a promising
Yeah,
player.
I got to admit, I was actually surprised when we sold him. I thought he was half decent. I thought this kid's got potential. He didn't shirk in his challenges, and I thought great, another Aussie in the side. I thought brilliant. I'm pretty sure he came down. Trying to remember when their 2013 tour in Melbourne. I think he was part of the squad. Pretty sure he was.
Yeah, I
Maybe I'm
think he
getting that
might
wrong.
have been. I'll
Um,
have a look at his. Yeah, go on, carry on, mate.
No, but no, look, it was great to see another Aussie in there. And he'd actually, if I'm correct, also been on their books for a while. I think he came up through the youth team, if I'm correct. I might pretty
Yeah,
sure about
yeah.
that one. But yeah, so when we sold him, I had some friends saying, yeah, good. I don't think they didn't think he was that great. And I thought he was actually pretty decent. I thought, maybe not first team starter all the time, but I thought great backup. Um, but yeah, the club had other ideas. So, um, but he made his mark, and I think how many games did he play? He played quite a few for us in that. Um, God, I'm trying to remember what season it was. It wasn't the 2013-14. I think it was the season after that he played a lot of games, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm just trying to look for a. I'm on this website which tells me everything I don't need to know about Brad Smith, but everything else is in here, like star signs and stupid stuff.
Oh God.
Um, no, I'm only joking. But yeah, no, he did. He did have. He did play. Like an amount of games. He didn't leave the club until. Um, he didn't leave the club until 2016.
Oh,
So
the Klopp
yeah,
was there then. Okay.
yeah. So I definitely remember him playing under Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because I think as well, we really struggled in that left back area for a long time. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah, we
who
did.
was the left who was the left back under Brendan Rodgers? Ah, we had Ali
The
Sissoko.
That's right. And we also had no, no, I'm thinking of who played right back. God, I've just had a mental, but no, I'm thinking of Nathaniel
John.
Klein was right back, wasn't he? Klein was
Um,
right back. Yeah.
yeah, and we had John Flanagan as well.
That's right.
John Flanagan
Yes.
played bits, didn't he?
Yes. Leno. Far out.
Flano. I met John Flanagan.
How is he? Was he good?
Uh, yeah, we met him. We were at a game and he was there. Driving out in his car and we spoke to him and he was sound. He was dead sound. We were all like absolutely hammered like. Yeah, but he was all right. Like he was all right.
That's good.
Brad Smith as well, by the way. Wayne, he isn't retired, but he is without a club at the minute.
Wow.
So he's been playing in the United States of America.
Wow.
And he's now without a club. So
Hey,
there you
Brad, if you're
go.
Brad, if you're listening, come to Adelaide. Adelaide United, the team I follow here in the A League. They could use some defenders. Come and play for us.
They could do with 11, couldn't they?
Oh God, yeah, they could do with a few. No, so Sydney looks. He's been in the, like I think we were speaking a little bit earlier. He's obviously been in the US for quite a while though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he went to Seattle in 22. Oh,
Oh,
in
okay.
fact, Wayne, I'm so sorry. I've got bad news for you.
Oh, he has got a team.
He's just signed for Cincinnati.
There you go.
There you go. All right, well, good for Brad, eh?
Good on you, mate. Good on you, Brad.
And to
Good
be
luck.
honest, he's probably dodged the bullet there by not going to Adelaide.
Yeah.
Talking talking of players who I mean there's no segue, but talking of Brad's Wayne, my mate. Let's talk about Brad Jones.
Oh wow, what a guy, huh? Putting
Yeah,
aside football aside, I mean his family personal tragedy is well documented, well known, but I admire anyone that can, I guess, perform on this, on a very public stage and still have that going on in the background. Brave man. But you know what? He was actually really good for us as well. Became a little bit of a cult figure. Um, I think his biggest game was that FA Cup semi-final against Everton. I remember, was it that one where Andy Carroll
yeah,
scored the winner? Was
big,
it that one? Yeah, that's
big,
right.
big Andy. Yeah, me and Jack were at that.
Were you
We were
sober?
right, we were right behind the goal. No, we weren't sober. Jack was, you know what? Jack was only a kid as well when I think about it. What year was that? 2012.
Oh,
So Jack would have been like,
he was sober then.
he was, what year was Jack born? 96? What's that? 2006?
So he's
He's
20, yeah,
10.
he's 29. He would have 29, he would have been, let's see.
It would have been like 15.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was drinking. He was drinking because I was in London at the time. I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember why I was in London. Maybe I was working in London at the time in the old TV, and he got the bus down. I think, and he was drinking. I turned up and I was like, "Fucking hell, kid!" But
And
we
that
were there
brother.
behind the goal. But yeah, Brad Jones played that game because do you remember? Do you remember how that happened?
Yeah, now wasn't there. No, hang on. I'm trying to remember. Our keeper at the time would have been, was it Mignolet? Was Mignolet our keeper, our number one?
Pepe Reina was number one. I'm sure
Sorry,
he
Pepe
was.
Reina. Yes, okay. Now, wasn't he one that, because Brad Jones was actually third choice, if I remember right, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So now, Reina was either injured or suspended, and I think something also happened to our substitute keeper that he got suspended as well.
Can
I
you
can't remember.
remember? Can you remember who it
Oh,
was?
here we go. Hang on. All right. I'm gonna try and figure this out. Who would have been our backup keeper? Oh, I can see him now. No, was he still around at the club? It wasn't him. No, he was under Rafa.
Were you thinking about Charles and Tanjay?
No. I was thinking about this guy was an England under 21 keeper, dark hair. He played against Juventus in that famous European Cup
Uh
game
Scott
where
Carson.
Scott Carson, that's it. No,
Scott Carson, who by the way,
yeah.
coincidentally, has just ended. He's just left Manchester City, and he's won like 6 Premier League trophies, the Champions League, 3 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, and he only played like 1 game.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
put that on your CV. I don't know. Would you
yeah,
be too embarrassed to do that? I don't know. Maybe you just say, what the hell? I was part of the team. I trained. I was there on the bench.
yeah. Because I think he would have been almost the coach. You know, he
Yeah.
would have like
God,
his role was to make the other goalkeepers ready,
yeah.
essentially.
All right. All right. So
Um,
who? All right. Hang on. I'm going to try and remember this backup keeper. Pepe Reina, Brad Jones. It's gonna hit me in the face, and I'm gonna give me a clue. What nationality was he?
he was Brazilian. There's people are either like at home now, like got screaming it, or are in exactly the same boat as you, because it's a bit niche, like.
Oh my God! I know this.
And
Oh
I tell you
no.
something about him.
Yeah.
He always wore short sleeves as well.
Far out. All right, you know
But
what? Because we're on a time constraint here, we can't wait all night,
yeah,
kids.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
answer it for us, Tom.
All right. So the game before the FA Cup semi-final, we played Blackburn away, and in that game, Donny
Oh
was
yes.
the goalkeeper,
Yes.
and he conceded a penalty. Got sent off, red card. This was when a professional foul was a professional foul,
That's right.
and he got sent off, and Liverpool brought on Brad Jones, and what happened next is that Brad Jones saved a penalty in the game.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Brad
goodness me.
Jones
Far out. I completely
lo-
forgot about that. Completely
loved
forgot.
it, and then Brad Jones played in the semi final against Everton there, and yeah, we beat them 2-1. Jelic scored for Everton,
That's right.
and Luis Sylvain Distan played a really bad back pass, Stevie Gerrard-esque,
That's right.
and Luis Suarez cut it out and nutmegged the goalkeeper, Tim
That's right.
Howard, if I remember, and then Andy Carroll scored a last minute header.
Very famous goal,
Yeah,
that one. Big
but
celebrations.
big celebration, big celebration. And you know what? I wanted to talk about when Brad Jones lost his son,
Mm.
Luca. Like, it's amazing how life just completely trumps football.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think because I think we always liked Brad Jones. I don't think the fans ever expected Brad Jones to be Liverpool's number one.
Mm.
And maybe Brad never thought he was going to be Liverpool's number one, but he was a good part of the squad. And in that same sort of way that you look at a fella and you think he's a bit like us, him.
Mm.
He's on good money, but he's like us. And I think that when his son passed away and the way the fans reacted, I think shown the connection between us and him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I agree. I agree.
yeah, it was really sad. I think I was at the game. I think I was at the game when they did the announcement in the stadium and that. But look, to leave on a really positive note for Brad, he's
Mm.
definitely very, very well thought of from
Absolutely.
Liverpool fans, I think.
He is. He is. He actually went on to have
Um,
a bit of a successful career after Liverpool, if I remember right. I think he won a title or two. I can't remember which league he went to.
yeah,
I don't know if was it Holland or was it Belgium
I'm
he went to? I can't remember.
I'm just looking at my copious notes here.
Anderlecht
He
or
played for
Feyenoord? Feyenoord, it was
he played
Feyenoord.
Feyenoord. He won the Eredivisie.
Mm.
And then he went to Al Nassr before Al Nassr was cool. Because because everyone's going there now. And then Perth Glory,
That's right.
which is great, isn't it? Is he from Perth? Is he from that area?
And I'm not sure. I always thought he was more East Coast. I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
But yeah, Brad Jones, top fella.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of respect for that guy. A lot of love for that guy too.
Yeah, yeah. I think the certain players who they might not be the greatest player technically, but that just completely who they are and the moments that they have just trump it all.
Yeah.
And he's definitely one of them. Yeah, brilliant, love it. Never forget that night in Blackburn. All right, well, Wayne, look, mate, we've covered our Aussie Reds, and
Yes.
another thing I'd love to do another time, mate, is talk about Reds who came and played over here.
Oh yes, there's been a
That'd be
few.
good.
There's been a few.
There's been a few, eh? I'm thinking Fowler. Well, Fowler was over here.
Rush. Ian
Heskey.
Rush. Yep.
Rushy was here as well.
Yeah, long time ago Ian Rush came and played here. Let me think
Daniel
who else.
Sturridge.
Yes, that's right. Daniel Sturridge. Gosh, who else? I know there was others.
There must be more.
Some came and had a few like 6 game stint here.
Yeah.
Ah, who else? Who else? There's a big name, it's going to come to me after I'm finished. I'm tempted to go on Google, but that's right. But yeah, no, that would be awesome to talk about that because I got to admit, I never saw Robbie Fowler play, obviously, for Liverpool in the flesh, but I did see him play here when he was in the A League again for the opposition team, and he scored this ripper goal for the opposition team, and me and my mates, even though we're Adelaide United fans, we're both Liverpool fans, we both jumped up, celebrated, and then quickly
Robbie
sat back
Fowler?
down. Yeah, and quickly sat back down again. So I've met Robbie. He's a good lad as well. He's a really nice guy and got a lot of time for everyone. He was actually in town last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
In
I know.
Melbourne for the Carlsberg, the Istanbul anniversary special. Was it 20th anniversary
Yeah.
cans? Yeah, it kind of snuck in under the radar, that one. Shame we didn't know about it. Would have been good to go to that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, if there's anyone listening from the good people of Carlsberg, send us some Carlsberg. Because I do actually drink Carlsberg as well, Wayne. I'll be honest with you. I would
right.
drink it.
Do you know those
Yeah,
cans though?
Pretty good.
Like, I had this problem with the other cans, the ones they brought out a few years ago, the Premier League when we won the title. I bought
Champions
the Carlsberg
ones,
ones.
yeah.
And I thought, okay, if I open this, I'm gonna wreck the can a bit. But I thought, if I leave it unopened, the beer's gonna go bad and might explode eventually over time. I did. You know what I actually did?
It's
'Cause I thought,
lose-lose, isn't it?
well, I thought I'm not gonna rip the top off, so I literally did a little pinprick in the bottom of each can and just drained them all, let them dry out, and I've still got them all nice and sitting there collecting. Anyway, it's a pretty of a
All right,
useless
well-
shiver story. Oh, let's.
Well, you know what? It's a thought, actually, because if you are listening, the good people at Carlsberg, maybe you should think about having, like, a little token or a coin or something that comes in every case of beer.
That's a great idea.
Little, like a little pin badge or something. Like a little Carlsberg, 20 years, Istanbul or whatever. 25
That'd be
years,
great.
whatever it is.
Yep, that'd be great.
See? I'm a thinker. Wayne.
Hey, Carlsberg, he's looking for if he wants, are you trying to get another job? Just kidding. All right.
No, I'm set for work at the minute.
I know. I shouldn't say that. You might want to cut that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm run off my feet. I don't think any of our people in work are Liverpool fans, but in fact there is one, and actually his name is Wayne. All right, mate. Look, thanks so much. Pleasure,
mate.
for coming on again, mate.
Thanks
you
for having
so
me
much.
on.
It's our always, mate. I always love talking to you about the Reds. And thank you so much to everyone for listening yet again to the weekly show. Obviously, we've got no Liverpool to talk about right now, really, but there's so much Liverpool to talk about that we will continue to do it. We've got some great guest lines up, Wayne, in the new season.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Some really good people from around the country, and there might be one or two celebrity guests.
Ooh, exciting.
Coming on as well.
That's good.
Who I'm talking to at the minute, so that is really exciting, and we're just making changes all the time. We might potentially be looking at a slight format change for the podcast, which I'm going to make a post on social media this week because I'd love to see what people think about that. To see whether you prefer it or not. I think that's about it, mate. Next week, I think we'll find out because things change so quickly in that kid's life. But I think next week we'll have Jack on, and I think we're going to talk about sort of famous goals, famous moments that stand out to us. So there'll be some Liverpool ones, and I think there's going to be some where we may be playing a Champions League game and the opposition scored a last minute goal to knock us out and stuff like that as well. I'm sure they'll be in there. All right, mate. Look, Wayne, thank you so much, mate. Thank you to everyone for listening. Wayne, before we get going, I'm so sorry, but tell us again where people can find your charity organisation.
Certainly, yep. Just go to themailhug.com.au and we'll be there. And also, just one last quick thing. Tom works very hard on this podcast. And if you want to keep this thing going, you've got to do your bit. So like, share it, tell your mates, tell your Reds, get it out there. Because I'm telling you, this thing is going to get huge and you're going to love it. So support it.
That's great. Thanks, man. I couldn't have got a better promo than that. Wayne, I'll be seeing you in the next couple of weeks, mate. Have a really good night.
Definitely. You too, brother. Take care, man.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.